Is love only a guarantee for a successful marriage?
So if you see the red flags and they are scary, there is nothing that will be in the marriage that can change that. So live with it or run away from it.
Traditional marriage, white wedding. What is your stance on this? It is a nightmare of a lot of people.
Only look out for the mother of your would-be wife.
Okay.
If she's still alive, or if she's not alive, look out for her aunties. Look at how they look at their age. Ask yourself whether you still appreciate that woman in the next 20 years, 30 years, because that's her.
That's a replica.
Yes. This lady that you see dating most of the time, or about Hawaii makeup, wigs, and all of that.
Yeah.
But when you marry, that's not her. And she's going to take off her wigs, and sometimes the wig is not smelling good and all that, and it's going to be in your face and all that. If you marry as a young man and your marriage is working, that's where a lot of ladies are going to come after you.
Wow.
It was my first 2 or 3 years of marriage that I encountered a lot of
Women.
Every woman is attracted to a responsible man. It's natural.
Do you still believe God is in the business of choosing a spouse for us? I feel a strong urge in me that there are people watching us who are married that are struggling quietly. And I want you to touch that life, that soul who's watching us, who married loudly but suffering quietly. Talk to my audience.
Yes, so
University of Life podcast.
Statistically, 50% of first-time marriages face serious challenges like divorce within the first 5 years. Yet there are couples who have not just survived, but they have thrived over a decade. Mr. Eric Osei Asante is one of them. A man who has spent 10 years building solid marriage, inspiring young couples, singles, and people who are yet to be married. Today, he is here to share with us the secrets, the lessons, and the insight that has shaped his marriage. Class is in session. Welcome, sir, to the podcast.
thank you.
We are looking at building a successful relationship that could possibly lead to a successful marriage.
Sure.
But before that, you are the founder of the Lord's Army for Kingdom Marriages.
Sure.
TLAKM. What is it about?
Yeah, so TLAKM, like you rightly said, the Lord's Army for Kingdom Marriages. Yes, marriages, we know marriage is a concept that predates even Christianity. Because before the early church began, people were marrying and people were divorcing and all that. However, the principles of Christ, all right, that makes difference from the marriages we have seen before Christ and his ministry, is what we want to project in our days also.
Okay.
We want to actually bring home or drum home the point that marriages are still workable. So the Lord's Army for Kingdom Marriages is just to drive home Christian principles and values that anchors marriages. And that is all that is lost in our marriages in these days. And it's not about some of the things that sometimes we sit around the table to discuss. So when Christ forms the center of our marriages, there is very little to fear. And that is what this movement is about. And it's non-denominational. The whole essence is to pray or to target marriages, to pray the word into our marriages, to study the word, the principles that we can draw from the word of God, all right, to apply in our marriages. And as much as possible, have some kind of marriage clinics from time to time, review our marriages. You know, one thing the church has not really paid attention to is post-marital counseling.
Okay.
All right. Couples come before the church counseling team. They are told a thing or two. Within a few months, they are left alone. It is more important for someone to be checking, someone to be refueling, someone to be re-energizing marriages from time to time to ensure that it keeps running.
Wow. Our guest, Mr. Eric Osei Asante, has been married for over a decade.
Yeah.
Wow. With 3 children.
Yes.
How has marriage treated you for the past 10 years?
Thank you. It's a mixed bag of things, a mixed bag of feelings, but overall, I would say that marriage has made me better. Marriage has made me discover who I didn't know I was. And maybe we were just fortunate to have found Christ at the right time, because if anyone tells you marriage is rosy, and it's all smooth and it's all nice, that would not be the truth, So marriage is hard work, actually. So it takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, and a lot of intentionality to make your marriage work. If you leave your marriage on an autopilot, I tell you what, you crash. So a lot of intentionality comes in marriage, and you learn a lot.
I know before you finally got married to your wife, you went through a lot of relationships.
Sure.
As many as
I can count some too. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, about 2 before.
I want to put you on the spot. Why did you settle with your wife? What did you see in her?
Why I settled with her? Yeah, I think I was at a time, maybe I know better today than I did those days, but I was so much enthused about ladies who had minds of their own.
Okay.
People, I think that in my weak moments, I could rely on them to, share thoughts. I wasn't so much for people who would always take hook, line, and sinker anything I tell them.
Okay.
So I met her and I said, well, this is someone who always wants to do something different from the challenge the status quo, so to speak. And I was just fascinated by just that.
Wow.
Just that. So I wasn't also looking at too many things because I didn't even know what to look out for. But I only knew that for sure you must look out for someone who shares your faith, your belief. That is very foundational. All the other things can come along. So for me, it was her faith and the fact that she has that drive. She wants to do something and she goes all out.
Wow. Many are in a relationship. They are confused as to how long they should stay in the relationship to marry. How long did it take you to decide finally marriage?
Well, it didn't take me too long after meeting my wife to decide, but it took about 4 years to actually marry.
Okay.
Yes, because I had quite a number of things. I wanted to do my MBA at the time. I wanted to pursue a few things. I didn't really want to bring in somebody's daughter when I was handicapped myself. So, yes, I mean, within a few months, within 4, 5 to 6 months, we knew that this was getting somewhere. But it still took us time to, get to know each other better and get to learn the things to expect.
Wow.
Right? Build some friendship before we took the ultimate decision.
I see. Boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, especially Christians. Is it something we should condone?
Well, I think it's not really about what we should condone or embrace because it's happening anyway. And I don't believe that there can be anything as so serious as marriage, all right, without allowing some room for people to know what they are getting into. So for real and realistically, I do not expect anyone to frown on whichever way you put the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. However, it is the excesses that sometimes we are alarmed about. All right, because that is where you build friendship. Marriage is all about friendship. Because when you marry, there are a lot of things that you anticipate or think when you are single that this is what you are going to be doing. That never gets done.
Sure.
But the friendship is what keeps the marriage going. So two people of the opposite sex liking each other must be given some room to learn to, fix into each other's space, if you like. So I think it's good because it's just like rehearsing onto the actual show. So I think that it should be encouraged, but it should be guided so that the right essence of dating or going into relationship is achieved at the end of the day. All right. Can I chip in this example? Sure. I have this situation that I handled some time ago. In fact, this lady shared with me that they've gone out for he's dated the guy for about 9 good years. Wow. They couldn't marry for a year. These are people that have known each other, have been together for 9 good years, and they settle in marriage at the end of the day, and they couldn't stay for a year. So the question is, what have they been doing for the 9 years? Sleeping around and all the other things. There was no intentional goals set for that relationship. There should be a reason why we are dating. Anytime there are no goals, situations will set the goals for us.
Let's look at this. When we talk about dating, what is it about?
Yes, so in the concept of things, dating is simply, let's sit and talk. Let's get to talk about issues. Let's get to know each other better.
Okay.
So guys can date. Just can we have a date in that sense? Like, let's sit over some drinks or something. Let's just have a moment of discussion. So that's what dating is about, and nothing more. I'm just trying to know you. All right, maybe over drinks, over some movies. I just see me off to a place. We take the opportunity to talk. All right. So dating is supposed not to be something that drags. It's supposed to be some momentary, maybe a couple of days. You should be out of dating, all right, into something else. Either you are continuing or you are backing out based on the findings or whatever impressions that were formed during the dating. So dating is simply sitting to talk, getting to know about you and maybe about your peripherals, the relations that revolves around you. That is it.
So it means a man can date as many women as possible.
Well, I wouldn't encourage that. And you know why? Because it becomes very difficult to see crystal clear what you are looking out for.
Okay.
All right. So it's okay to date one person and move on to the next and to the next. But to do them concurrently, sometimes it stifles the essence of why you are dating. All right. Because, for instance, you may have Ya today and Akosuya today. Both of them at the same time.
Okay.
Akosuya may be in his, or Ya may be in his best elements. He's in his best of moods. So he gives you a very good impression. And the other lady, per whatever circumstance she finds herself in, then that momentary judgment may not give you much.
I see.
You get it? And comparative dating is the easiest to do, but it is really what doesn't give you much. So I would rather recommend that if you want to date, spend time on one person at a time. Be sure you are not in for it. Don't hang around and start dating another one. Many times it doesn't bring out the desired outcome. Yes.
As a marriage and a relationship enthusiast who is so passionate about people building successful marriages and relationship, what are some of the common mistakes young people make in the early stages of their relationships? And what advice will you give them?
All right. Many. But maybe I'll just go with a few. The expectations we have as young people are usually and mostly erroneous.
Wow.
Okay. We form expectations based on what we have heard from either parents or people whose marriages we witnessed, or yes, what is trending. So we go into relationship with some expectations that might not be realistic, wrong expectations, or maybe unrealizable expectations. That's one reason. And the second one is that we don't set barriers.
Okay.
We don't set barriers. I'll tell you this today, and I'll say this on open record.
Okay.
You know, one of the reasons I really settled on my wife was there was a time she visited me, and for some reason I was really burning.
Okay.
I was really burning to touch her, and I know somewhere within her mind, it's not something she doesn't want to happen, but the firmness with which she said, no, we can't do this. We have decided, we have sealed, we have, told ourselves that this is not happening. The insistence, say, no, Kwabna, this cannot happen. In fact, that should, Uncle was said, no made me interest crack off from, because if that is what I was looking for, but the fact that she stood her grounds and said, no, yes, this guy, I love you too much to allow you to do this.
Wow.
Those were her exact words. I got angry at the moment. Yes, we are not saints. We are coming from somewhere. By the grace of God, we are where we are. We can say some of these things.
Sure.
For the younger ones to know that it is okay for you to be tempted. It is okay for you to, in courtship or in relationships, feel like you want to do what shouldn't be done and all that. But then the strength of either of you or both of you does not make one walk away if it is really genuine. It rather makes whoever is hurt stand.
Okay.
Filters out exactly what you want in that woman. So she stood up and left, and I was so angry. But momentarily I sat there and said, and a voice spoke to me, Eric, this is who you are looking for.
Wow.
And that was it. And since then, it is something I've always been telling the young ladies. Don't think that is what will hook the guy to you. That is what would earn you the respect for him to want to keep you. If he doesn't, he is not for you. So a lot of relationships don't work because of the sex factor, the things we are not supposed to do that we do, the guilt we carry. So it even affects our trust. So we begin to have trust issues right from the word go.
Wow.
If he couldn't wait, even for this period, then what if we marry and he travels for so all these things will play back to you if you don't fix them well in the relationship. So that's about it. So our relationships or the relationships of the youth is failing because it's all canal based.
Wow.
We do not really know why we are dating, so we don't even set goals in the dating for us to measure ourselves against those goals, whether we are achieving them. I wanted to know the mannerism of this lady. What have I seen in that area? I wanted to see how prayerful this lady is. What have I seen? I wanted to see how teachable this lady is. There are people that genuinely, for no fault of theirs, but where they grew, they can't relate or can't do certain things, but are they willing to learn? You get it? So we don't marry perfect people and all that, but we marry people who are willing to take in what they don't know and ride with it. So in relationships, sometimes we are so formed before we get in there. We have our values already, we have our bent standards, and nothing changes. And no relationship ends in marriage when they take these forms.
I see. What is the role of the church in shaping Christian relationships?
Yeah, I think the intentionality of the church to actually design teaching models and services,
Okay.
and also introduce mentorship.
Okay.
Right? There are people whose marriages are doing well, and there are people whose marriages are working. These people can adopt young ones. Children who have graduated from the senior high school, entered university. Definitely these people are going to go. They are active. They are sexually active.
Absolutely.
They're going to go into relationships and whatnot. So right there, you capture them before they go to the universities, the tertiary institutions. Mentor them. Let them know what they are to expect and what the red flags, as you said, are. We leave them thinking that they go for teen service and that is enough. We have to be intentional. The church must design a model, must have an intentional place for the youth. We should have days, sessions just to talk about relationships. Let them know what to expect, who an ideal man in the Christian context is, who an ideal woman in the Christian context is. What is family life? What do you expect? What is sacrifice? All these, values that makes marriages thrive.
Wow.
Must sink deep into them.
Do parents also have a role to play here?
A lot.
Can you touch on one or two?
Yes. So parents shouldn't shy away from letting the children know the realities. These children are growing to become like us someday. Some years ago, we were not thinking marriage, we were not thinking relationship. We could bath and the next person bath into us is a girl or a boy. We couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
But today, we've gone through the meal, we've gone through the sessions and the seasons of life. So will they. Let them know as early as possible what awaits them. When a child asks you, Daddy, is that the wife of that man? They say, hey, what do you know about wife and what do you know? No. They will keep asking the questions until they find answers. So we must let them, the moment the child is able to conceive that question, it means he or she is mature to receive the answers.
Wow.
The moment they can ask you about sex, the moment they can ask you about why did this person hold this person, then it means they are mature, they are ripe. Don't let their ages deceive you. Maturity has nothing to do with age. Some children of 8 years, 9 years will tell you things that will blow your mind.
Wow.
So as parents, we need to keep our eyes on the ball. Either than that, we miss the kids. Let's not expect or let's not, hope for the schools to do this for us, or even the church, the Sunday schools. They won't do much. You live with them. God has entrusted them in your hands. So you owe them everything. Even use your mistakes as a springboard so that you don't repeat that. Every parent who is privileged to have a child, right from the word go, the moment the child can understand your language, start introducing them to the concept of marriage, biblically, for that matter.
I would like for us to touch on red flags in relationship. A lot of people overlook it. You know that. But before that, I want to ask you, are all relationships supposed to lead to marriage?
No. The relationship is not supposed to be a guarantee. It's supposed to be a sieve that's going to filter out who you can be with and who you cannot. So enter every relationship with that mentality that is either going to lead you into marriage or not.
Wow.
And when you enter with that mentality, you even know how and what to invest in there. If you know that this thing is not a done deal, you don't go in with your best and with your all. What if it doesn't work? And then you be ideal for the next person. You would have given all your creams and all your best to the one who walked away knowing that you are not the right person. So we should enter relationships with very open minds, and as much as possible, keep it platonic. Because the moment the emotionalism comes in, all right, it blinds us to a lot of things.
Wow.
We are not able to pass very good judgments of what we are seeing. So no. And a lot of people have ended in marriages that have jeopardized their joy and all that because they are like, this must end in marriage. It must end, even when every indicator is pointing to the fact that this guy is not going to make you happy, this lady is not going to be a good wife to me, but for the other reasons, we still want to go ahead. So for me, it's a no. It's not supposed to be a
guarantee.
Yes, it shouldn't be at all. Wow. And regardless of how long you have been in that relationship, it shouldn't be a basis for you to move into marriage.
Does that mean that people in relationships should expect heartbreaks?
Yes. For me, I would encourage everybody in a relationship out there, especially the young ones, that heartbreaks should be a defining moment. It should tell you that, okay, so this is an experience of what was not supposed to be or not meant to be. Yes, because emotions are involved, it's okay to feel the pain because you didn't expect it to end that way. But at the end of the day, there is more ahead.
Wow.
Yes. So heartbreaks should be expected. In fact, so I think that everyone going into the relationship, especially if it's not your first time, you should develop a tougher skin from the first.
Sure.
Which makes you more informed, more guided as you enter the subsequent ones.
Wow, that's a great thought.
As part of it.
You've spoken so much about relationship, and we're about to zoom into marriage.
All right.
I'm much particularly concerned with the red flags.
Okay. Frank Akoko.
Yes. Why red?
I believe that it has to do with the danger sign. All right. If you look at all our road signages and all that, usually you see red, okay, on a background of white also, because I think aside it's communicating danger, it also, is quite visible.
Sure.
All right. So there are things that, people can hide things. There are things that will be innate and you may never have the benefit of knowing. But for some other things, as long as you are attentive, you see them and they are as visible as flags. No flag is hidden. Flags, when you travel to a place and you find a flag of your nation, it tells you that, oh, Charlie, I have my people here. So flags, actually, and red for that matter, tells you that this could be a danger looming. So that is the what I decode from the terminology red flag so far as relationships are concerned or marriages. Yes. So danger sign.
Can you touch on one or two?
Sometimes I'm very hesitant in giving very blanket or general answers to some of these questions because I believe that in as much as there are generalities, and I underscored one, for instance, your faith, I believe that it is not possible to marry someone who is of a divergent faith.
Okay.
I'm a Christian, he is a Muslim, but the other things are strong enough to keep us going. It doesn't work. If you understand that marriage is not just a contract, but it's a covenant, it means that there is a deity involved. So if your hearts are not of one form or are not journeying on the same track, come what may, there is no way. You can give another name to it, but definitely not marriage. It won't work. Aside that, I believe that all other things can be bent or can be modified or can be adjusted with. For instance, you are someone I'm considering to be my wife, and I realize that you have too many friends, and I do not like their disposition. I do not like their lifestyle. I monitor them. It's so it makes so much sense for me to draw the conclusion that you are just one of them, trying to get my attention, for which reason you are not really bringing out that aspect of yourself. So the kind of company you keep, a woman or a man keeps, should be a red flag if someone may need these nuggets. All right. Another could also be how they are able to live with your difficult moments. Very, very, very important. I want to see how she will react when I'm in tough times financially. So intentionally, they will try to, make things a bit dry to see the response of the lady, or vice versa. Sometimes you want to make demands. If we are waiting me aboa me person me say me will say waiting me say so and see what her response will be like. Or when she requests for something and you do not have it, what becomes of it? How does she respond? How does she react? These are all red flags, because these are realities that you're going to face in the marriage.
Okay.
So sometimes we can simulate some things to get some of these indicators or some of these red flags.
Right.
But like I said, it differs. It depends on who and what one is looking out for.
Right. Right. Marriage.
Okay.
First of all, is it mandatory for every Christian to get married?
It's not supposed to be compulsory, but it's supposed to be the desire of every Christian to marry, because that is the desire of God for every child of God. He stated clearly in Genesis 2:18, he said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I'll make him a helper, one comparable to himself." So God has an intent. There is a reason for marriage. It's not like I get to that age and I say me need pempen so be I say me warranty and I may worry. But nyame and she share away say nipa be man ko atena na oba nko atena indimu and I say nwie peye. Then so it's not compulsory. Okay. For instance, obi betimi decide and I say it will make sense say obi worry because it be on health grounds. Meaning obi a worry because of the status of the how do say the sickling status. Okay. Now worry the problems we brain no crama ni free mu. You get it. And so on
that is on health grounds, right?
On health grounds, there could be others. Obi wa say wo yenuanom Catholic nuns ne monks or may decide to go the Pauline way. Say the nyame na adwuma na o mafa ni nti na mo mpese bibia be distract wo nti wo mo de o mpese o mo de o hu si ho na o ye nyame adwuma na yes we tukwan kwajo papa na be bada ben and all those stuff o mpese so o ye adwuma na no ye. You get it. So for those considerations, it has a place in God's plan, but by and large, feel say bibia and te say the yedi kan aka ni ya say nye health grounds and I say bia we decide say nyame ejuma na say ejuma bi afa to hu so ntino wo mpese bibia wa ware a full time job enti so we decide say nyame me de ma ware ebo for ye dia ye ejuma na say bibi like that. People, it's done, it's acceptable. Paul did it. But aside that, I think say was so be a energy warrior home because our warrior Christo yon crano edim eboa.
So beyond Christianity and beyond biblical point of view, why is it important to be married?
The reason is that Bema, all right, no matter what you have and no matter how you are formed, bibi wo ho a se oba memwa unhu se wo ho da. Sanso na hodin bi dua umu. I say oba ambe trigger unhu sa hodin wo mu da.
Right.
All right. Enti nyame de bibie dua oba memu a oba na activity. Sa nso nyame de bibie dua oba mu a bema na activity. Enti sa nipa mienu ba together ema nyankopon susupon na say it brings that holistic picture of our fullness in God. And also interested say one warrior you are not fully in Christ, but we are situating this in the context of our career. What do I say?
Sure.
Be say until I married, nyama be brother na before say me wo ho ahoden. But me worry that me say I was say me gina you because say me ni ho ahoden sa. Nti nipa mienu na worry oba ne bema. Say if you have one mind, okay, there is nothing you cannot conquer in this life.
Wow.
Make me why in and I said now for me, we have a limit and extent to which we can go. But when a man and a woman are joined in marriage, now they are able to live the mystery of and the two shall be one. The reality on the ground is that some mystery of two minds becoming one. But where it happens, I tell you the power therein. Near mass any community me, you know, it is unmatched. Into the only achievements be a reserve for such people or for such unions. Say, Bemani or by it me and rely on the leadings of God. No to me come my dream boomer. That mystery of the two becoming one. Say happen the moment it happens, and we do not have two people in a contract called marriage, but two people inseparable who have become one, and you cannot see the man, you cannot see the woman, but you see a fresh entity, a new entity formed from these two. The things they can do, Lee, you have no idea.
Wow.
And that's a mystery. There are, in fact, a litany of testimonies that I can show you if time will allow. Maybe another day I'll cite some of these examples for you to see. So marriage at all levels is a good thing. Let no one encourage anyone who desires to marry never to go in there for any reason.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
I have a Bible verse, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 27. If you are not married, do not try to find a wife. But if you decide to marry, you have not sinned. And if a girl who has never married decides to marry, she has not sinned. But those who marry will have trouble in this life. And I want you to be free from trouble.
Yes.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 27. How do you make of this?
Yes. So I don't think Paul was saying that marriage was bad. All right. Everybody's words is as good as the person's personality. So Paul was writing to the church of Corinth. And, you know, there is an aspect in theological hermeneutics. Okay. We need to understand the context in which he said that. For all you know, Paul was replying a letter that has been sent to him. And in the context of what he received, maybe the complaints he received from people trying to marry and do it their own way and all that, Paul felt that for the reason of the church standing, it would be better if you think you are not ready for it. It is not bad not to marry. You get it?
Sure.
Like we even have today. It sometimes it gets like, if you are of a certain age and you have not found marriage, it means that your life is incomplete or something like that.
Sure.
So Paul was not saying something different from what usually we experience today. All right. So his advice, and I like the fact that he was being very open. Paul never married, but I'm very sure as someone who was pastoring believers and all that, or leading, he had settled or he has sat on marital cases and all that. And based on his experiences of what people have shared, he would give this advice, and it's in order.
Sure.
And, so, of course, he talks about divorce also at a point in scripture, and it was referenced that yes, about divorce, Moses giving divorce, like encouraging that divorce letters should be given if you want to cut ties with a woman you are married with and all that. What was it? He said in the beginning it was not so. It was something that triggered that recommendation from Moses that give them a divorce letter. Don't leave them like that. Giving someone a divorce letter also means that you are not leaving the person like that. You are settling the person. That's what it means. All right. But in the beginning, that wasn't the intent. Except two people come together and separate. But if it is leading people to death, then I recommend that don't go into it. You understand?
Yeah.
So Paul was situating this statement in this letter as a response to what was happening in the church of Corinth. So it is in no way suggesting that marriage is not good, because he says it in there. But I like the fact that he also, espouses that it is a difficult thing to go into, and which is true. So what is he doing? He's psyching the minds of those who want to go into it. And hard training, easy battle, we say, right? Yes, it's never wrong if you decide not to go into marriage. It's never wrong, as long as, because Bible is emphatic that one of the reasons we should even go into marriage, God has deposited this craving, all right, the desire or the need to be satisfied sexually, and that can only be derived from the person of the opposite sex.
Sure.
All right. It has a place in our whole makeup as God made it. So if that need is in there, God has created you and has programmed you to have the desire for the personality of the gender of your opposite. all right, and you know that at some point that need will have to be met. Who is going to meet that need? It's going to impair your entire journey. It's going to, so you can be a good guy trying to live the principles of God and all that, but that unmet need can make you veer off.
Wow.
So God said, have your own wife, have your own husband. Yes.
Wow. Amazing. In Ghana today, statistics show that nearly 50% of marriages face serious challenges within the first 5 years. And the projections goes on and on and on and on. Majorly Christians. Why do you think Christian marriages today don't last?
Well, I'll take it from the angle of facing the challenge, like the first 5 years being characterized with challenges and all that. Yes, I think that should be expected.
Okay.
All right. So any marriage that doesn't have testimony of some difficulty in their preliminary years may be one that have to be celebrated on a different score, because it is expected two people that has been built and formed for over 20 years before your path crossed. You have formed your values, you have formed your desires and all that already, and marriage is supposed to make you of one mind. And you think that process of achieving that comes easy? No. So it is expected. It is not an indicator for failure when people are struggling in marriages. It is an indication that a process is ongoing. All right. It is only when we are not learning from that process of what we call pain or what we call failure that the worry arises. You see? So I talked about expectation at the onset. People expect marriage to be a place of rest. Meanwhile, it's a place of work. You see? So you go in there, you work at it. Yes, right? You work at it. So you see people enjoying their marriages. Oh, we are 10 years, we are 15 years. Yes, they dug, they tilled, they sowed, they watered. All right. Sometimes the crops did not even yield. They have to uproot it, burn it, re-till, and start the process all over again. You get it? Yes. So that is even, I'm talking about even situating it in the Christian marriage. Being a Christian or being a child of God does not mean that like you are formed in Christ's, exact personality. It's a process. Even he says we are being groomed, we are being groomed from one level of his glory to the other, and we shall conform into his likeness by and large. But we are not there yet. So in marriages, it's like that, unless you are pretending. Unless you want to show the world, of course. But what you are facing in your marriages shouldn't also be out there. Because sometimes the extra ice can also be a source of, not making your healing process fast track.
Wow.
All right. So it's okay. It's okay for marriages to face, for your first 5 years or whatever, to go through this process. It is forming you into that mystery place of the two becoming one. Everyone goes through that.
That's true.
Okay. But where the worry is when the process has ended in divorce.
Okay.
That is what we don't want to see. The other one is we are going through this, but we will get there.
Okay.
You see? So those who are still running on, or those who are still in the marriage are not those who are not fraught with the challenges. They are those who have decided and resolved that, hey, we are on a journey. The road will be muddy and rough, but we know we will get there. So when you have a couple who are of this mind, they formed a matter of time. You realize that these are you begin to see the evidence of the gold going through the fiery furnace. All right. But those who give up on the way because the expectation was that my husband must treat me this way, my wife must treat me that way, and they don't see that in the first 5 years, the easiest way is to go through the exit. And that is where the church must help couples to know how to drift through these difficult seasons.
If someone has been in marriage for 10, 20 years, we can't conclude that the marriage is successful because there's something they are dealing with and there's something that is keeping them along.
Yes. You see, there's a reason why God likens, or the Bible likens, the relationship of marriage to the relationship of Christ and the church.
Okay.
Christ, right from the cross, has been working on the church. Even though he has saved us, it is done. But to get us to conform to his likeness has been a process of a lifetime.
Okay.
So day after day, Christ is working on us. That is how marriage ought to be, or marriage ought to be seen. All All right. So there is never a place of perfection that we have gotten to the place of perfection. Deal with anger issues and be perfect at it. The moment that one ends, there is a fresh page for you to deal with something else.
Okay.
Maybe transparency. All right. So at every point in your marriage, understand that a couple is going to be dealing with something. You understand? So there is no point in life, 20 years, 30 years, and unless we say, okay, maybe I read let's just enjoy it the way it is. And that's fine, because at that point, maybe I'm and all that. And you feel perfection. Now it's more like friendship.
Sure.
And we know friends are not people who are always making each other happy. Sometimes friends hurt each other. And that's the reality. So when you are experiencing these things in marriage, and after 20 years, I feel that should even make you pat yourselves on each other's back. That in all of this, we are in here. So the moment you find a reason to exit, unless of course with some exceptions of you being battered or your life being at risk and all that, or some serious emotional hurts and all that may lead to your early termination. Everything that happens in marriage can be worked on. In fact, God wants to keep us busy in our marriage. At every point in time, you should be doing something. You should be working at something. And I tell you what, couples who really communicate will tell you that sex is most enjoyed after a hot argument or after you've had your beef.
That's true.
Why do you think that is? Yes. So it has its place. These misunderstanding, it only means you are humans trying to ingrain each other's values into each other's space. So it is not indicative that marriage is failing when things are not really. Of course, the excesses exist, but no one should conclude in their marriages that because their husbands or their wives are not behaving this way or that way, the marriage isn't working. No, it's working, but maybe not the way you expect it. So work harder, seek God, and you thrive through.
Wow. Do you believe in my assertion that who will you marry is important than when one should get married?
Both are important. But yes, I agree with you that who you marry, of course, is higher on the scale. But for when will you marry, it depends on who is asking.
Okay.
You genuinely have people who mean well for you. So if your parents, your close aunties that have contributed to your life and all that ask about this, I don't think that we need to take it in the wrong context like we are pressurizing it. It is expected. However, that is not supposed to push us. You get it? So we shouldn't be pissed off by those questions necessarily. Sometimes it has to do with who is asking that question. If that person has no business to ask you that, of course you can have that reservations. But if it's family and people you know that mean well for you, because marriage is a good thing. They know for a man, marriage, in fact, it brings
true.
a whole the other dynamics to your whole life that are hitherto hidden. Marriage brings let's put it that way.
Sure.
It makes you to be called to the table of men. Yeah, there are sometimes issues that you may not be that good guy or that, but the fact that while we're in, somebody thinks you have something to offer by way of advice. A young man will come to a married man rather than one who is not married.
That's true.
To ask about marriage. You see? So it means that you have moved a pedigree higher just by marrying. So it's okay when people, especially loved ones, want you to marry.
I see.
Right? But again, I agree with you that who you marry is ultimately the question you should be thinking about.
What is God's ideal plan for marriage, and what do you think we've gotten it wrong?
You see, God has programmed marriage in such a way that when you are able to get it right, it has a direct correlation with every other thing you need on this earth. So when your marriage is working, it has a way of affecting your finance. It has a way of affecting your spirituality. It has a way of affecting, in fact, even your moral sanity. It places you where God wants you to be. You understand? Yes. So God has a prototype of what marriage is supposed to be. And he didn't use any marriage. He used Christ and the church to exemplify it. It means that he wants to see a man and a woman in a relationship that has no exit door and a relationship that can forgive everything with no exceptions. Just like Christ does. And that is when we have that model, when we have that picture in mind, all right, then we are meeting God's intention. Then we are living what God wants to see in marriages. So, bro, I tell you, I don't know if you have experienced this. It is so easy to forgive others than the people you love. It is so easy.
Yeah, that's
Why
true.
do you think that is? God is behind this. It is very difficult to forgive your spouse or one you are in a relationship with. Okay? It is a test of your love. Okay? Do you think Christ finds it easy? When people who are not been saved yet do stuff like that, yes, Christ, these people, I look forward to a day where they'll come to the realization. But when the one whose price he has paid for the one who has accepted the invitation continually to live in sin, it breaks his heart, especially when he has resourced you with the Holy Spirit to help you live a godly life and you are not using the Holy Spirit. It grieves him. It's the same way God grieves when he sees that we have the tool to succeed in every area of our lives called our spouses, and we are not using them. We are not maximizing that. Okay? We rather see them as enemies at a point.
I see.
It's just because you have not learned how to use the tool. You don't need another woman. You just need another self of yours. You get it? So these things are mystery talks sometimes, but like I tell you, in all of this, if the God factor is missing, it can't work.
The author of Things I Wish I Had Known Before We Got Married, Gary Chapman, made a statement that over 30 years of being a counselor, most of the couples that he has counseled, one of the questions that he normally asks them is, why do you want to get married? That's the first question he asks them. And over 90% of the couples that he has counseled, one of the things that they normally repeat is for the fact that they love each other.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, is love only a guarantee for a successful marriage?
No, love only cannot be a guarantee if you are looking at love in the sense of the sensual love, because that dissipates. All right. But if you are looking at love in the context of how the scripture puts it, you realize that everything you have to do is built on love. All right. For marriage to work, if you have to suffer long, the person is not doing the things you expect, but you are still there.
Oh,
that is love.
Okay.
All right. The person hurts you big time, but there is the possibility to seek strength to forgive. And you go for that option, even though the obvious one would have been to just walk away. That is love. So love is a difficult thing, as the scripture puts it. So the love we are used to, that we usually use, the sensual one, which is love also, we need it, because in marriage, the sensual aspect also contributes a lot. But that is not what sustains the marriage. All right. So the sensual love has a place, but that alone is not enough. It dissipates so fast. In fact, the lady or the man doesn't have to change. The fact that you taste hell, you taste him alone, brings the value down if you are looking at the sensual love. But the agape love, on which every marriage you aspire to be built, it's a character-based something, and it is God-inspired. You see? So the things that are difficult, God says, because of this woman, because of this man, I want to see you apply them.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so we are looking at the basic preparation that a man or a woman is supposed to make before the idea of even settling down comes in mind. That will be our last but 3 questions. Then we bring our conversation to an end. Let's look at it. A lot of people prepare the ceremony and not the marriage.
The marriage. It's true.
Let's talk about it. What should be the basic preparation for a man who has done all his checks and balances and ready to settle with a woman? And what do you think should be the basic or fundamental preparation for a woman who's ready to settle with a man?
What I'll say is the fundamental thing you need is how well that woman has accepted you.
Ooh, that's so deep.
How well that woman has accepted you. Because, yes, I know that society has some, expectations, and, over time, there have been some postulations. Oh, you need to get at least a 2-bedroom, you need to get this. These are fantastic. But I tell you that at the height of all of these discussions, how well your partner has accepted you. Because we have heard of people who married and they just had to go and stay in the house of the parent of one of the couples. Yes, it worked. it's not something we should recommend that people should intentionally lazy about because they know maybe the woman I'm dating has a family that can accommodate us and that. But when that is the only reason you are staying in the relationship, because you don't have a decent place in quotes, and because of that you guys know that you are supposed to be married by now, because what then is left with the facilities. Nothing stops you from achieving them when you are married. You get it? So I think that the more we drag or the more we wait for certain things to reach our hands or for us to achieve certain things, they are all good. But I tell you, at the foundation, at the core of everything you need is how well you have accepted each other. Because if you have, because when you're dating, I don't think you're sleeping outside. When you are courting and dating. So if I'm a guy and I'm in a single room, me when I married my wife, I had at least what it takes to have gotten a new place. But when we're having our discussion and all that, she realized that what I want to get will take me another year or so. Maybe I say rent and so true, we can put our monies together or something and get a place and all that. But I want us to stay, like it was a single room somewhere, and she is coming from a home that's I mean she's coming from a big house. I mean, my parents are not here, but I came to her parents are here. She lives in a very big house, has her own place and all that. But then she's like, Eric, if we marry, this is my home too. I don't mind. Yeah. He says sometimes we best and you're here. It is secures muna mobeda. Nama warrior. All right. You start from there.
Okay.
All right. Because I think society is putting too much pressure on the young ones. And they have no reason to still drag their relationships, but because they have to get things that they have no idea when they are getting. So fathers, mothers, allow the children to as long as they have something. Of course, I'm not saying that a guy who is not making ends meet, who can't feed himself, should bring, because the moment you marry, culturally, you have taken the woman from the parents.
Sure.
You get it? So on the score of that, I would recommend that get something doing. At least have a consistent cash inflow.
Okay.
It's not about the amount. And again, it comes back to what I said earlier. How much the other person has accepted you makes it easier or difficult.
That's true.
Because I know of couples who started marrying and it's about what the lady has saved, but nobody heard about it. When you are very intentional in the relationship, all of these things come to bear. You know, there are lots of things that my wife has done for me that till now, not even the acutest of my pushing her into anger would make her mention it.
Oh.
And these are some of the things that we pick from the relationship. So when you invest a lot in the relationship by really, really being intentional, being attentive, you see that you know how your marriage will be, because the marriage ceremony itself doesn't change anything. So for us, we reference our start point from when we met, as long as it worked into the marriage. So the wedding and the blessing and all that is good. It adds some beauty and it spices up things, and it gives you some memorable pictures to hold or to hang on your walls and all that. But the truth of the matter is that whatever you encountered in the relationship is a precursor to whatever you see in the marriage. So if you see the red flags and they are scary, there's nothing that will be in the marriage that can change that. So live with it or run away from it.
This is very interesting. I like this particular part of the conversation because it is a nightmare of a lot of people.
Only these things that we always, counsel people or encourage people to have before they settle in marriage. You can lose them, even in the marriage. If they should be the premise on which marriages should be contracted, you can lose those things when you are in marriage. Don't people have their houses bent, all their investments and all that in the marriage? Are you trying to say that when that happens in the marriage, what should be the expectation? So it should be about the two people rather than the things that will make them comfortable, because they are supposed to go out there and build life together.
I see.
So where they begin from should be their decision, not society defining for them what qualifies you to be a husband or a wife. As long as they know what marriage is about, they have done due diligence and they understand what they are getting into, and they have received right mentorship, and they have acquired at least some preliminary knowledge about what it takes and the journey they are embarking on. Come on.
Wow.
We should reduce, the list of things I need to get. It's mounting so much pressure, and people begin their marriages on debt.
But I think we need to talk about parents, the church, especially the church.
Yeah, sure.
Traditional marriage, white wedding. What is your stance on this?
These two are just issues of preference. But I believe that, I have always held the view that the real marriage happens between two families. I mean, you are giving your child out to another man's son in marriage. So it's a contractual negotiation, if you like, between two families. Can I trust you, this family, with my daughter? All right? And so I have to do due diligence to ensure that where my daughter is going is a safe place, a safe haven. So I don't want to just limit it to the guy who's coming to marry her. So I want to involve the entire family. I want to know the system from which he is coming from. All right? And that is what makes it an occasion, or if you call it. You understand? But the actual thing is the relationship that is being established. Okay? So this church certain standard that you have to do A, B, C, or D before your marriage is recognized. Again, I think that it is not in bad taste that the church does that. You see, I think that this has traveled from a dispensation. It was these standards were placed just to serve as checks for the youth in the church to be guided, to ensure that they are doing the right things at the right time, where the church believes that they would have been groomed enough to understand what they are going into. All right. But at some point, it tends to be like it is getting fixated on the other things. It needs to be reviewed. Okay. The church should encourage many more people to start marriages from a very low level, where as long as they are comfortable. Why do you make it look as if the moment they marry, life, like they're going to appear on a different planet and everything is going to be? Let the people learn it through the hard way.
Sure.
In fact, let their love be tested. Let them go through it, as long as that is what the two of them want and they know what they are going into. I stress on that. So I think that you can marry, you can do something at home, invite your pastor to be in attendance, all right, to bless the marriage. You don't need to go and do all those setup in the chapel to make it a marriage, or to make the marriage recognized. As long as your funding or your strength can support that, go for it. It's beautiful. You have very memorable pictures and videos, all right. I don't remember the last time I took my wedding album to look at. Anyway, it's there and all that. But then it's not something, because marriage keeps you busy. And maybe once in a while, maybe my anniversary is looming. So maybe at that point, you may want to look at, hey, and this is how we were and how far we traveled. It's sometimes good and all that. But you can take pictures and all that when you have had it at home. So I am just for us trying to, as much as possible, reduce the expectation, the burden we put on young couples. You tell them not to go for loan, but you are expecting them to do things that will push them to go for the loans. You see, as long as they have a means of, they may think that, we'll be able to settle it. I tell you what, it's a very bad footing to start the marriage on. It brings a lot of tension to start with. I won't advise anyone to go into any form of marriage that is above your capacity or your ability to do. I'm telling you, my mother-in-law told me something the night before our marriage. He says that, Eric, you go for a helicopter, a chopper, and ride in it with your wife. Like that, you want to set some record. The next day, somebody will use a submarine or something. Yeah. So whatever you do will be a breaking record. Sure. No? So don't try to impress anyone. You come home crying. So everything that comes to mind, FO. But if you think it will be hard on your pocket, think again.
Under what circumstance would you accept a couple to divorce?
When a life is at stake.
Okay.
That I would recommend that. Even that, I won't recommend divorce at the first instance. I'll recommend separation. All right? For help or for some intervention to be made. Sometimes it works. Sometimes when people are separated from each other, it makes them value rightly who they were messing with. All right?
Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes it works. It could be separated for a year or more, and you realize that after the separation, they don't see reasons to come back. So that smoothly transits into divorce. But you realize that sometimes they are separated and they begin to miss each other. They say that no, we want to work it out rather than let it go. So that I would recommend. Aside that, I think that any other thing is workable.
Okay.
All right. The man has cheated on me and it's a grounds for you to divorce. I used to hold that view. I used to support that a lot, but I got to that level of maturity where I think, okay, so when God talks about love and you forgiving, what was he talking about? The things that will hurt you big time. All right. That is not to encourage or to motivate in it, but because if you do that as a man, you cheat on your wife, or as a wife, you cheat on your husband, you hurt them, but you kill yourself. Yes.
Wow.
That is what we have to understand. You hurt them, but you kill yourself in the long run.
I see.
Yes. So for divorce, as much as possible, hate it. And right from the word go, the two of you should constantly remind yourself that it's not an option.
I see.
Constantly, regardless of what happens. Okay? And it's even the reason you should learn right in your relationship before marriage how to resolve your own differences when you have issues. It's an act that can be learned. It happens in my marriage every day. Sometimes you can see that you are really angry at this, and then something just hack her. The moment you do that, you begin to simmer down. So the intentionality bit, you learn. Okay?
Wow.
Never go to sleep on the issues. Because tomorrow anyone will come. So if you keep piling them, you wouldn't be able to deal with them. So there are practical, actionable things people can do right from the relationship into their marriage that will make it easy. It's not the issues will come, but at some point when the issues know that you always have antidotes, and that is the couple that the devil fears.
I see. Children fall in love for pleasure. Adults fall in love for purpose. Your last thoughts for singles.
Yes.
Singles, those in relationship, married couples who are struggling to fulfill the promise they had with each other.
All right. So for the singles who are aspiring to marry, some might be in relationships already. What I would say is that the intentionality of what you do matter a lot. Don't leave your relationship on autopilot. Don't know what to expect. In fact, before you even pick, let your ideals lead you into choosing.
Okay.
Don't choose the people. Don't allow the person to come before you start setting your ideals. It doesn't work. All right. So have your ideals. All right. Know what you are looking out for before the person walks in.
Okay.
That way you even know who qualifies and who does not. All right. Then another thing I would say is that we spend a lot of time, especially in this technological age, chatting, petting, doing all those kind of things. But I tell you, one thing that I did that helped my relationship a lot was to pray together with my girlfriend, now my wife. We did it. I think we started doing it every other day. It got to a time we're doing it each day. All right. Then, so you know what? We thought, for me, it was a way of, pushing stuff from coming to our heads, just building that defenses around ourselves. Okay, this is a discussion that will trigger something, so we will not go to those areas. So we were intentional. We will pray. We are Christians. So why do we talk about every other thing but the word? And all these things, we were not like just people and all that, but the intentionality. This is the kind of marriage we want to have. If you don't start now, you can't get into the marriage where children are crying, pulling you here. You now want to institute that. It won't work. So when we were just alone, all right, we were intentional because we wanted to have a Christian marriage because that's the foundation.
Wow.
All right, we couldn't compete for the, we are coming from humble homes and all that, but we realized that we wanted something, and that was common to us. We wanted a godly marriage, so we started praying together. And sometimes she will lead, sometimes I'll lead. We do that, and we by the time we realized, we fell in love with that.
And it was done mostly on phone, right?
Yeah, on phone. We didn't live together.
Wow.
On phone. We did it, and guess what? It led into our marriage. And 10 years down the line in marriage, so 14 years altogether, that seed of trying to pray together every other day, which became a daily ritual. So a day we are not able to do, it becomes like, Charlie,
something is missing. Yeah.
You see, so that, and I know that is the work of the Holy Spirit, and I know that a lot of people, a lot of the youth trying to marry can do this.
Sure.
All right. it may not be your lifestyle. You may not have been lucky. Your parents are good. They give you everything, but they are even too busy to sit. There are a lot of homes that don't even have devotions and all
That's
that.
true.
But it's very, very important because
yeah.
you're going to import it to your children. If you are not doing it consistently, you can't. So right from the relationship, start. The very things you want to see in the marriage, start. Okay? So that praying, that trying to, discuss things, certain, like, okay, this ones we will do, this ones we will not go. We start discussing a lot of things when we didn't know how to.
Yeah.
To achieve them. Keep yourself busy in your conversations. Talk about things. And you should intentionally learn how to communicate. Sometimes there's nothing to talk about, but you talk of fast same biaba.
Sure.
All right. By the time you realize that topic that you thought was not a serious thing would turn into something else.
Asking a lot of questions.
So that is what I want to keep your relationship busy with the right things.
Wow.
Okay. The other things will follow. The ones you don't have to do, you already know. But I'm telling you the things that will help, which sometimes does not come to mind. And let me tell the unmarried also, know what to expect. Okay.
You mean those in a relationship?
No. Those, yes, in relationships, heading or trying to marry, know what to expect. And again, look out for the mother of your would-be wife.
Okay.
If she's still alive, or if she's not alive, look out for her aunties. Look at how they look at their age. Ask yourself whether you still appreciate that woman in the next 20 years, 30 years, because that's her.
Okay.
Have that mind picture.
That's a replica.
Yes, that will happen because for men, usually as we grow in our desires of certain things, that's where the women also go down. So it gets to a point when you are getting hyper, they are coming down. So there has to be a lot of work to bring you people to some place of compromise. So, and that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you need to think ahead, have a lot of picture in mind. All right, this lady that you see dating most of the time, about Hawaii makeup, wigs, and all of that.
Yeah.
But when you marry, that's not her. And she's going to take off her wigs, and sometimes the wig is not smelling good and all that, and it's going to be in your face and all that. These are so you see, you expect the best, but prepare for the worst,
yeah.
as we always say. Okay, so in case I go in and I see that behind all these beautiful things, these are the things that am I prepared for it? So as long as you psych yourself for that, and they come, it's okay. I knew something like this could come. He makes it easier.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And again, any guy who thinks that, or any lady who thinks that the ring is going to deter people from pursuing you when you marry, should think again. If you marry as a young man and your marriage is working, that's where a lot of ladies are going to come after you.
Wow.
It was my first 2 or 3 years of marriage that I encountered, in fact, a lot of
women.
I tell you what, when I wasn't married and I was not facing, well, maybe I wasn't looking the way I was. Maybe my wife fed me well and I was looking better. I don't know, but some way, somehow, they feel every woman is attracted to a responsible man. It's natural. All right. I wish, and especially when you begin to allow them into your circles, try to get intimate by sharing. Maybe they want you to tell them what to do and all those things, and they are seeing everything that they are not see. They are seeing everything they are not seeing in their guys in you. Naturally, they begin to develop. They don't care your status.
Wow.
So you have to. And women too. I'm shocked. I have some lady friends in my office and all that, married with 4 kids, 3 kids, and some of them will tell you that they will tell you, hey, come on, let me show you this message.
Wow.
And it's coming from this man. So psych yourselves. And especially these people, they pop up when you have issues with your spouse to offer exactly what you are looking for. So these are things that I want the youth to know, that the marriage itself it announces that you are married, but that is what triggers hell to come after your marriage.
Wow.
Everything your husband or your wife is not, the devil is going to package it and show it to you in somebody else. Are you going to stand or you are going to fall? That is why you can't do without having a lifestyle of prayer. And one reason why couples should be able to forgive each other is when you are always praying together. You can't be praying together and after the prayer session, you still carry on the hurts. The moment you say, so you see that not
Yeah.
so it has a place. It is not like sorry, it should be a part of you. Okay. So the list, if I want to talk about I have a lot to share. And I believe that another opportunity will offer itself. Then now to the marriage.
To the married, wait. I feel a strong urge in me that there are people watching us who are married that are struggling quietly.
Yeah.
Quietly. Suffering quietly. They need help. And I want you to touch that life, that soul who's watching us, who married loudly but suffering quietly. Talk to my audience.
Yes. So, for my beloved who is married, marriage is a good thing. And I'm very sure no one, like the elders say, no one goes in for the people they don't love. As they will be worrying the. So always make reference to where you began. All right. So the guy changed along the way, the lady changed along the way. But in the beginning, something drew you into the marriage. You must keep your eyes on the wall. Sometimes people drift not because they desire to drift. Sometimes they just don't have the gravitas, the strength to be the kind of husband they have to be. Sometimes it's just because of the circle of friends they keep.
Okay.
They do the things, they do the stuff, they talk to you in that manner, and a few minutes later they feel guilty about it. But the pride, the ego, and those other things. So sometimes you need to diagnose the issues. It's very, very important. Diagnose the issues very well and know where the source of the issue is. Then try who is the one person that your partner listens to. It is always important to have somebody like that. All right? We know that ultimately it should be God. But God is mostly going to use someone, okay, to help you bring back home the mind of that person who is drifting. So I just want you to have a never give up mentality, whatever it is that you are dealing with. The moment you dedicate it to God, you devote it to God in prayer, consistent prayer, all right, and asking Him to help you build the resilience, the issue drifts from in fact, your attention drifts from the issue to the solution.
Okay.
So the intensity of what your spouse is doing is no longer your focus. It's about who you have summoned your husband or your wife to. That is what happens. Anytime you try to solve this by your own, you get more frustrated.
Sure.
Marital issues, you cannot solve it by your own.
Wow.
Bring in God and do your part. You see, there is one thing that we don't know. One of the key mysteries in marriage is that your behavior or your role is not contingent on what the other person does. When you do that, then it's a conditional kind of marriage. It won't work.
Right.
Because keep your eyes on the ball. Do yours. Do you know that this marriage we are talking about like that? Yes. The man I gave you, the woman, do you remember what Adam said? The woman you gave me. When it's time for him to give account of what he has done, the woman you gave me. So this time God said, you choose, bring him, bring her, I'll bless it for you. So this time you won't tell God the woman you gave me. You say, the woman I chose, that I wanted, that you decided to glorify with your blessing. All right. So if the woman God gave you, the man God gave you, all right, you believe that once God blesses it, it still means that He has endorsed it.
Sure.
It's messing up. Who do you go to?
You go to God.
Go to God. And He has even given us the strength. We only need to engage it.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
And I worry for me. Show be I'm crying. Said you will fem bia fire empire bo. Sreradisa on shouting. It's me jina ekonano.
One very last question, which I need a snappy answer from you. Do you still believe God is in the business of choosing a spouse for us?
I don't find that in Scripture.
Okay.
And once I don't find that in Scripture, I don't think that God chooses spouses for us. It is one of the things He has given us the, if you like, He has given us the will to choose. All right. And that is to say that God doesn't reject anyone we bring. That is very fundamental. God doesn't reject anybody we choose. Then maybe the question will come, what if the person is not a Christian? All right. So will the person, at the level of friendship, are you able to introduce the person to Christ? Is the person sincere about him or her accepting Christ? If it happens, marriage is possible.
Okay.
All right. But as long as all right, the person is a human being. Okay, God does not cast anyone away. So you
Wow.
choose. God does not choose for us, but He blesses and He endorses and He empowers us to be able to have the requisite wisdom to walk with the people we choose.
Okay.
Yes, you can. Sometimes we choose right, all right, but we don't play it right after the choice.
I see.
We believe that because this person is good, it's supposed to run through. No, it has to be a daily thing, engaging God for wisdom. Every level you get to, you need a higher order of wisdom, help from God. He's the one who resources you. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the other person, it's you. If people tell you what their spouses have done that they are aware of, that they still can afford a smile, you know that this is only God.
That means that our choices is very important. If God does not reject anyone we bring on the table, it means that our choices are very important. It was an insightful conversation with Mr. Eric Asante Osei, marriage and family life enthusiast. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
God bless you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Any last word for your wife?
Yes, my sweethearts, I couldn't have made a better choice. In fact, of all the blessings I've received in my life, you stand tall.
Wow.
And she's a superwoman. I love you to bits.
One thing I learned from this whole session is that marriage is not for perfect people. Marriage is for willing people. If this conversation blessed you, share with a friend or someone who is single, preparing for marriage, or someone who's already inside it. And I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers to greatness.